The Last Starlight Unicorn, a story of cosmic journeys and earthly discoveries. The deep void of space stretched infinitely around him, a tapestry of swirling galaxies, burning nebulae, and the cold glow of dying stars. Astraios, the last of the Starlight Unicorns, soared through the darkness, his iridescent mane shimmering like the auroras of dying worlds. He had wandered the cosmos for eons, a lone traveler across the fabric of existence. There had been others once, beings like him, born of celestial energy, their horns carved from the light of collapsing supernovas. They were the guardians of the great spiral, creatures who wove the stories of civilizations into the celestial stream, guiding souls through the vast unknown. But time, even to immortals, was merciless. One by one, they had faded, their energies dissolving into the very universe they had sworn to protect. And now Astraios was alone. He had seen wonders beyond imagination, the birth of planets, the rise and fall of empires spanning solar systems, the quiet flicker of consciousness sparking in the void. Yet with each world he visited, he felt something missing. Purpose, perhaps, or something deeper. Then he saw it. A small blue world circling an ordinary yellow star. It was unremarkable compared to the gas giants that danced in perfect synchrony around dying suns, or the great crystal spheres that held entire civilizations within their transparent embrace. And yet, something called to him. A whisper of forgotten memories, the echo of a dream he had once known. He turned his gaze toward Earth and began his descent. The sky over the Pacific Ocean split apart like glass struck by a hammer of light. A luminous streak burned through the heavens, trailing silver embers and starfire. On the shores of a quiet island, Evelyn Carter sat alone, her feet buried in the cool sand, a cigarette burning idly between her fingers. The world was asleep, lost in the humdrum of its own chaos, political turmoil, economic strife, the endless digital cacophony of human existence. She exhaled, watching the smoke twist against the backdrop of the ocean's dark vastness. She had left the city for this. Silence. Escape. A chance to figure out whether she had anything left worth chasing. Then she saw it. A blaze of silver tearing through the atmosphere. A falling star unlike any she had ever seen. But this was no meteor. It moved with purpose, gliding toward the beach where the waves whispered their eternal lullaby. As it neared, she shielded her eyes, the air charged with static, the scent of ozone thick around her. And then it landed. Or rather, it touched the earth as if it had always belonged. Before her stood a creature that should not exist. A unicorn, if such a word could do it justice. Its coat was woven from the dust of galaxies, shifting with every step it took. Its mane flowed like liquid stardust, each strand catching the wind in an ethereal dance. And its eyes, twin pools of eternity, staring straight into her soul. Evelyn's heart pounded. "You're not real," she whispered, not daring to move. The unicorn tilted its head, studying her with something ancient and knowing. Then, without a sound, it stepped forward. Her breath caught as the creature lowered its head, its horn, a blade of crystallized light, hovering just inches from her chest. She felt warmth, an impossible warmth, flooding through her, filling the hollow spaces she had tried to ignore for so long. Memories flashed, her childhood dreams of adventure, the days before responsibility and disillusionment had dulled her spirit. The nights spent stargazing, wondering if something, anything, was out there. She had stopped believing. But here it was, a being from the stars, standing before her as if waiting for something. A test? A message? A gift? She raised a trembling hand, expecting to feel fur, something tangible. But the moment her fingers brushed against its coat, a surge of light engulfed her. She saw it all. The great civilizations of the universe, the silent watchers of time, the echoes of a billion souls who had once dreamed of something greater. And through it all, she saw herself, not as she was, but as she could be. A dreamer, a seeker, a piece of something far grander than she had ever imagined. And then, just as suddenly, it was gone. The unicorn stepped back, its body already fading into the morning mist. Its work here was done. Evelyn reached out, her voice catching. "Wait." Astraios gazed at her one last time, a silent farewell in his cosmic eyes. Then, with a final flick of his radiant tail, he ascended, dissolving into the heavens as dawn broke over the horizon. She stood there long after he had vanished, the warmth of his presence lingering in her chest. And for the first time in years, she smiled. Because life, her life, was no longer just a series of obligations and regrets. She had been touched by the infinite, and she would never be the same again. The universe calls, but so does life. Evelyn returned to the city. She picked up her old telescope. She reconnected with the parts of herself she had lost along the way. She would never tell anyone the full story. Some things were too sacred to be shared, but every night as she gazed at the stars, she knew, somewhere out there, the last Starlight Unicorn roamed. And maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as alone in the universe as she once thought. And that was enough.